Hall H. All right, let's get ready for our final panel of the day. Please welcome back to the stage Senior Director of Programming for Comic-Con International, Mr. Eddie Ibrahim.
All right. How many of you have been to a Kevin Smith panel before? Do we have any new people in the audience? You are in for a treat. Kevin is going to entertain you for some time. Be aware, he usually does a Q&A. If he says he's going to, answer the question, it could be 45 minutes until he's ready for the next one. So just be aware. It has been great to be able to meet him and work with him over the years. Obviously, with this job, sometimes you get to form friendships. And I'd like to think, I don't know, I don't want to speak for Kevin, but I'd like to think we've gotten to form friendship over the years. It was really great when I got to give him his ink pot, and I think he enjoyed that. But one of the things he always has some, Those of you that have been here know that I normally do this because one of the things he's always kind of worried about is he's going to come out into a room that has no one in it. And part of that is my fault. I don't really want to get into what created that fear from him, but I will acknowledge part of that was maybe my fault. And so I'm sure a lot of you in the audience probably already know. So one of the things I always ask you guys is if you wouldn't mind, just give a nice cheer to let him know there are people in the room really quick. So when you're ready, let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. So with that, Kevin, come on out.
I'm so fucking delighted to be here. Can't wait to chit chat with y'all kids. It doesn't feel like a Comic-Con until this moment for me, and when half of Hall H leaves and the other half sticks around and shit like that. Man, kids, I was just on this stage yesterday doing 2 Disney panels. I did one for Predator Badlands, and then I did the panel for Tron Ares. And so it afforded me the opportunity because we rehearsed. I'd never done that before. And at one point I got to go in the audience and watch the clips they were going to show. And this fucking room is huge. I've never seen it from that perspective. I've only seen it from here and stuff. But when we went on stage, it was a pretty sweet gig. The Disney marketing people were wonderful. But I don't think they're going to ask me back. There were 2 moments. One, in the beginning of the Predator Badlands panel, they had the Predator King come out. He's wearing this huge costume, big mask and shit, had horns, and he comes out and he looks at the audience, and up on the screen you see the Predator Heat Vision. So it was a Heat Vision version of the audience, then he looked this way, and then you saw me in Heat Vision, and I waved and shit. And then he said some shit in Yautja, that's what they speak, and then he fucked off. And so I got up to the mic and I was like, kids, I don't speak Yautja, the language of the Predators, but I'm pretty sure he said something about the Epstein files. And no, I just lost a future job. But it was sitting right there. He was a predator, right? Like, fuck. So my kid, Harley, saw it on social media and she texted me and she's like, Disney's never gonna hire you again. And then the second thing was we did the Tron panel, and they had a bunch of fucking people. I had like 10 panelists and shit. And so Jared Leto was on the panel as well. And I felt like enough time had gone by to bust the expression, it's Morbin time. I think that's where I lost him, man. He shot me such a fucking look. Jordan Catalano just fucking fell out with me, man. My inner Angela Chase had to let it go and shit. So, nice to be on the stage tonight where I can't get fired. Not here representing anyone else but me. I'll be full disclosure if you're like, I'll give it a shot. Maybe he has some footage. I don't have anything to share, nothing to show. We're just gonna sit around and enjoy Comic-Con together. I'll tell you why. This 1995 was the first time I ever came to Comic-Con. We did a screening of Mallrats at Horton Plaza. Thank you. So that means this is my 30th anniversary of coming to Comic-Con this year. And the first time I was here, I'll be honest with you, like it's tough to live up to that first time because first time I came to Comic-Con was with the late great Stan Lee. He literally showed me the ropes. I'd never been here. I'd read about Comic-Con forever and whatnot, but living in Jersey, he never really got a chance to go. So I was, when we got there, he was like, come with me, spider friend. And he fucking showed us around and whatnot. And so I remember we had a screening at Horton Plaza and it was packed full of comic book folks, professionals and whatnot. And the movie played through the roof. Like one of the best screenings of Mallrats we ever had back in the 90s and shit. And the head of the studio was like, oh my God, this is Animal House huge. We're gonna make $100 million. And he was off by $98 million. But he meant well and shit. So years later, I knew Stan for years after that. Met him on that movie and then we became friends. And so I knew him until he passed away. And years later, after all the fucking Marvel movies started happening and Stan became a household name, for people who didn't even know comics. They're like, that's Stan Lee, that's Spider-Man's baby daddy and shit. So years later, we were doing, I think it was Yoga Hosers, and he was on set, he did a little cameo in Yoga Hosers. And he goes, Kevin, I read an article the other day that says that all the box office of the movies I've been in combined, I've made more money at the box office than Will Smith. And I was like, well, I guess that's one way to look at it, yes. Like you were in movies that did very, very well. He goes, oh, they did very well. He's going, and you look at the chart and it's like huge, 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 huge. But if you go backwards, you hit 1995 and the drops down to the bottom to say 2 million Mallrats and shit. So first time I came here was for that, man, and I've been coming for 30 years. This is my happy place. This is where I begin my calendar year and whatnot, and this Q&A is always something I look forward to. So I don't have anything to show you and shit, but I always have stuff to sell. So what I figure we'll do is we'll go tit for tat, man. I got a list of things that I can tell you about that have happened or are happening and whatnot, and then I'll do one of those, and then we'll do a question from the audience, and I'll go back to that, and then we'll do a question from the audience. Does that sound okay? Just to put myself at ease, kids, it always helps if I still get nervous and shit, just to tell a story, and I've told this story a zillion times, and if you saw me on the Dogma Resurrected tour, you probably heard this already, but I'm gonna show, fuck, that's not enough good, I couldn't. Fresh material. No, that means that y'all haven't heard this story and shit. A couple of years ago, it's coming up in February, it'll be the 8-year anniversary of me having a heart attack. And after I had a heart attack, I was in the hospital the next morning and shit, and my kid was all freaked out. Nothing that bad had ever happened to her. She's a real first world kid and shit. So she hasn't really had it hard, and her father almost dying rocked her fucking tiny world. So, the next morning she was like, you should go vegan. And I was like, oh my God, you're out of your mind. Like, you went vegan, and every time we go out to eat, it's so hard for you to find something to eat. She's like, that's because you take me to steak restaurants and shit. And so the nutritionist came in and said, I heard you almost died last night. I was like, yeah, man, because I had a widowmaker heart attack, man, which means that in 80% of the cases of the people who have the same heart attack, the patient always dies. I wound up in the 20%. I was very fucking lucky. So the nutritionist was like, you might think about going plant-based and stuff. And my kid was like, yeah, Dad, do it and stuff. And she was so upset that I was like, look, I'll give it a shot. Now I'll try it for a couple months, and just for you, but I don't think I can do it. So that is coming up in February. It'll be 8 years. And recently I went into my cardiologist and he fucking fired me. I didn't know that was possible. He's just like, you're not to come in here anymore. I was like, you're fucking canceling me? Nobody cancels me, you know? And he was like, no, he's going like, your heart's completely healed. You don't need a cardiologist anymore and shit. So, it was a very, very nice thing, man. He saved my life. But at the same time, because I went vegan, what a terrible colorless life it is now, you know? You don't get to eat anything great. So long story short, used to be happy, now I'm fucking vegan. So when I'm out in the world, I always gotta find like a place to eat. And I got an app on my phone, it's called Happy Cow. And so you enter your coordinates and it tells you where the nearest like vegan restaurant you wanna go eat is and stuff like that. Case in point, if I'm in Los Angeles, I enter my coordinates, it's like, you're in one now, motherfucker, you know. But the further east you get, the harder it is to find that many options. Case in point, I was in Kansas City. And I opened my app and entered my coordinates and the app fucking laughed at me and shit. So, but then there are places that you never suspect, man, and maybe prejudge and find out you're fucking wrong. Happy to find out you're wrong. And case in point, I was going to Salt Lake City to do a show, and as I was flying there, I was like, there's no way the Mormons have figured out veganism and shit. They haven't even figured out underwear yet, so there's no way. But I was hoisted on my own fucking petard, man, because when I got there, god damn it, I entered my coordinates, and lo and behold, not one, not two, 30 vegan restaurants, including a satanic vegan restaurant. It was called Mark of the Bistro. And I went and I had me a Hail Seitan sandwich, and it was just heavenly, oddly enough. And shit. So, when I went to do the show that night in Salt Lake City, I told the audience about it. I said, you guys are fucked up. There's a satanic vegan restaurant here. And a lady in the back goes, then you gotta come to my coffee shop. I said, I don't drink coffee. She goes, it's in a desanctified church. And I was like, you have my attention. I said, what's that all about? She goes, it's a satanic coffee shop. I said, what's with you fucking people out here? And she explained that because predominantly, Mormonism is the culture, the counterculture swings hard in the other direction and shit. So I said, what's the name of your coffee shop? And she goes, Hallowed Grounds. And I was like, oh, that's fucking clever. I was like, I'm gonna be here one more day, so I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna roll up on your coffee shop in the morning and stuff. So the next morning I got up, went looking for it, found it and shit. It's in a fucking desanctified church. So I was driving over there and my imagination running wild because I was like, what is a satanic coffee shop gonna be like at 10 in the morning? I could be walking into an orgy. I may see a dick for free. So I get to the desanctified church and I go in, and it's definitely a desanctified church, but there's nothing remotely satanic about it. There's about 8 stalls. Everyone has little businesses in them. One of them is a pink painted coffee shop. In Gothic writing, it says Hallowed Grounds, and that's it. There's not a single sign of Satanism. No Baphomet statue, not even a fucking upside down cross, nothing and shit. So I was like, false bill of goods. But I'd already arrived there, so I wanted to support, but I don't drink fucking coffee, so I didn't buy a coffee. I looked for something else. They had a t-shirt, said the name of the place in Gothic pink writing, it said Hallowed Grounds. I was like, I'll get that for my kid. Then I saw a coffee mug, and I'm not a coffee mug person because I don't drink coffee, so I never buy coffee mugs and shit. But this coffee mug made me laugh, captured my imagination. If you've been alive as long as I've been alive, 54 years, fuck, if you've been alive 54 fucking days, you have probably encountered the coffee mug that has the coffee mug sentiment on it. Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. It has gotten a polite titter like that since the first fucking idiot said it to the first poor victim hundreds of years ago, and that person was like, But they've been putting on coffee cups and plaques forever and shit like that. This place had their own spin on it, man. On one side of the mug, Gothic pink writing, it said Hallowed Grounds. On the other side of the mug, in Gothic pink writing, it said, don't talk to me until I've had my abortion. Now, I didn't think it was any sort of political statement whatsoever, man. I am in the comedy business and I recognize good joke construction when I see it. Somebody was like, what's the weirdest word we could swap with coffee? And fuck, did they stick the landing. So I said, oh my God, I fucking know who's gonna love this mug? My wife, she'll think it's hysterical. And fucking sure enough, I know my wife, man, I brought it home, she's like, this is fucking hysterical. I was like, isn't that fucking funny and shit? She was like, pretend to drink out of it, I'll take a picture. And I was like, oh, she took a picture of me and shit. And I was like, send it to Harley and shit. And Harley was laughing and shit. And I looked at the picture, I was like, oh man, I look cute. I was like, this is funny, right? It's a legit funny fucking mug. My wife's like, it's so fucking funny. I was like, and this is a funny picture. You know what? I'm gonna post this on Instagram. Big fucking mistake. That's where the fucking fun went right off the cliff, kids. I had no idea the country was so divided. But the fucking comment section let me know real fucking quick how wrong I was. First comment I saw, put it right on Front Street, said, that heart attack should have killed you. I know, I wrote back, yeah, but science. Next, they went after my fucking kid, man. You know, there I am drinking out of the mug in the photo. It says, like, fucking don't talk to me until I've had my abortion. Somebody said, your daughter should have been one. And I wrote back, my daughter should have been a coffee mug? Fuck you to death. They didn't find it that fucking funny. One of them was grisly as fuck, man. There I am in the picture drinking out of the mug. And somebody wrote, what are you drinking out of that mug? Aborted fetuses? And I wrote back, I'm vegan. But the weirdest one, it was baffling, but it was also bemusing, man. It was so sweet, and I'll never forget it. Shit. It wasn't harsh. You know, it didn't fucking curse me or something like that, or want me to go to hell. It very simply put on Front Street. I can't believe my favorite filmmaker from the 90s would make fun of religion like that. We're gonna open it up to Q&A. First, I'm gonna tell you one of the things that I gotta fucking tell you in terms of what's going on. And I'm happy to share that shit because I'm happy with my accomplishments, and a lot of them have shit to do with the shit that we have common interest in. For example, my friends, just recently, I released a comic book with the Archie folks called Archie Meets Jay and Silent Bob. One of my favorite things I've ever done, man. We did a live reading of it the other night at Good Night John Boys and had a good fucking time. It's in comic book stores right now. I've been doing a lot of comic book work this year. I had a Marvel book come out. I did a 15-page Spider-Man story in a giant size, Amazing Spider-Man. Then I've got the Archie book just came out next month. My comic book from my comic book label, Secret Stash Press, the good folks at Dark Horse publish. Quick Stops, which is my comic book about the View Askew universe, little stories set in the View Askew universe. Volume 3 comes out, 4 new issues. First issue is Chasing Amy, and it's basically the comic that Holden makes in the movie. If you're familiar with Chasing Amy, all we ever showed was the, ow, that hit my dick. All we ever showed was the last page of the comic and the cover of the comic. So I was like, we make comics, and they're black and white anyway, why don't we just do the whole book? So John Springelmeyer went in and did the entire book. So it reads like a Marvel Comics novelization of a movie or something like that, but it looks like a movie prop, and inside, it doesn't say written by Kevin Smith, it says written and drawn by Holden McNeil and shit like that. And it has the same cover and then 2 other covers. So that's the first one that comes out. Second Quick Stops that comes out is an homage to a dear friend of ours, the late, great Shannon Doherty. It's a whole Mallrats issue. The first half is a scene from the movie we were trying to do together, Twilight of the Mallrats, the sequel to Mallrats. Sadly, Shannon passed and stuff. But we do that scene in the comic, the first scene where she was in the movie. And I was on her podcast before she passed away, and when I was on it with her, we read that scene aloud. So if you go to her podcast and read the book, you can hear her doing the lines. It's really fucking special. And then the second half of the book is the story about how I first met her and stuff. So that's issue 2. Issue 3 is Keeping Up with the Joneses. There's a character named Rick Darris, who was in Clerks, the guy who drove the Trans Am, the guy who was like, that milk only weighs 8 pounds and shit. In Clerks, that scene at the end, like he's standing there with Heather Jones, and he's like, can I give you a lift? And she's like, sure, how about the beach? He's like, I like the way you think. That's the first page of issue 3 of the comic. And then the next page, double page spread of them fucking at the beach and shit. And then, like, she's like, oh my God, I have to go home. I was picking up a paper from my father and shit, so why don't you come home and meet my family? And so she brings Rick Darris back to her house, but she is Heather Jones. Her sister is Trisha Jones, who is the girl who wrote the book in Mallrats. And their older sister is Alyssa Jones from Chasing Amy. And Rick Darris realizes he's fucked all three of these people. And so the issue is called Keeping Up with the Joneses. But then the fourth one is really special, and me and Jay have been performing it live whenever we did our live show, the Oral Sex Tour this year. It's an Alan Rickman honorarium issue, an issue that I put together as an homage to Alan. We use his character from the movie I made called Dogma, the Metatron, and Metatron and Jay and Silent Bob meet for the first time since we made the movie and stuff. It's really sweet. It's called Requiem after Alan Rickman and stuff, and that's the one that comes out in November. So those are my comic book stuff. I'm also working on something right now with Marvel that I guess they've announced it. Batman, Deadpool. I got a story in that. They asked me, do you want to do the crossover story between Daredevil and Green Arrow? I was like, I don't know those characters at all. And so I was happy to do that. And then we're working on something else. And then I'm also working on a book at DC. So I'm back in comics for a minute, man. Like, it's been fun. Okay. Now we're going to turn it over to you. First question, man. I did my thing, and now let's let somebody jump up to the mic, man. We got an hour to go. What's your name? You're the first question of Q&A 2025, my 30th anniversary. What's your name?
Theodore.
Give it up for Theodore. He's going to lead us off.
So my question is,
Fire away.
If you could write and direct a big budget movie for Marvel or DC, what character would you write the movie for?
I wouldn't do it, Theodore, honestly.
Really?
No, I'm not good at filmmaking. And those movies you need filmmakers who are good at shit. And so I love seeing those movies. Those are my stories. When I was a kid, my grandmother was a big fan of that the soap opera, The Young and the Restless. But she would never call it a soap opera, she would call it her stories. So she'd be like, shut up, my stories are on and shit. Marvel movies are my stories, but oddly enough, even though I'm a filmmaker, I never look at them and go like, oh, I would love to make one of those. Or even, oh, I think I could do that sort of thing. I know how to make Kevin Smith movies, that's about it and shit. Good news is no competition in that category whatsoever. So I love those movies, but I would never think about making one. I know for a fact I wouldn't, because I directed some episodes of CW shows. I directed I think it was 4 Supergirls and 3 Flashes or something. And I loved it, I had a great time, and they were only 9 days to shoot the entire fucking thing. But invariably, by day 6, I was always like, are we still shooting this shit? If this was Clerks, we'd be done, you know? So I don't really have the patience to make those long movies. I've interviewed the Russo brothers. It took them, when they did the 2 Avengers movies back to back, that was 2.5, fucking 3 years of their lives and shit. And if I worked on something for 3 years, man, I'm telling you right now, everyone would be like, go back for another fucking 3, you know? So I'm not the guy to do it. That being said, if I had an opinion in terms of what could or should get made, I've always loved the DC Comics character, The Question. And I think that character lends itself, whether it's Vic Sage or Renee Montoya, that character lends itself to cinematic treatment, because you're talking about a character that has no facial features, no eyes, no mouth, no nose holes, no ear holes. That's just fucking haunting to look at. I've always felt like if you were a criminal and Batman showed up behind you and shit in an alley while you were committing a crime, you'd be like, you need therapy, you know? But if you turned around and saw The Question with no features, you'd piss yourself and kill yourself at the same time. It's very Blumhouse scary and whatnot. So I think that would make a cool, film noir. And now they've got things up and running with the new DC. Hopefully they'll pick up that character and go running with it. But under the aegis of somebody with more talent, and I'll be the first one to sit there and watch it and shit. But you couldn't make me make that shit with a gun to my head. I'm not suited for it, you know what I'm saying? It's almost, even though I make films, it's I don't make films like that require all those moving parts and whatnot. And as much as I love them, I just don't think I'm good at that sort of thing. So, thanks for reminding me how much I fucking suck, Theodore. I'm just feeling good for my 30th year. No, thank you very much. Give it up for brother Theodore. What have I got to sell? Oh shit, this is fucking very exciting, kids. Have you ever seen a movie in the 4DX format? It's very fun. It's where you go to a place and you pay way too much money to watch a movie, but you're in a chair that comes alive. It's like a fucking roller coaster, and depending on what's going on the screen, the chair will interact with the movie and shit like that. Like if you're watching The Crawl for the Star Wars movies, your chair leans back, like as just automatically. If you're on a car chase, it moves you around. It blows water in your face. If you're going to see like Twisters, it shoots water and wind at you and shit. It's a fun way to see a movie, and usually they do it for big fucking action movies. I'm sure they've done it for Fantastic Four. I'm sure they've done it for Jurassic Park. They're doing it for my movie Dogma. I know. It's fucking nuts, man. Like, I had to go sit and approve it. I was happy to do it, but they're like, you gotta come and approve it. And I was like, you don't need me to, it's approved. I don't give a shit, man. But I went for the fuck of it just to see what it was. And, you know, of all the movies I've made, that's the one that lends itself most to, like, 4DX treatment. If it was Clerks, the chair wouldn't move ever, you know? So with that, there's some shit that goes on, and the whole third act is more action-packed than the rest of the movie, so the chair fucking comes to life and shit. And so at one point, we have a Golgothan shit demon in the movie, and he shows up, and there's effects and whatnot. So at the end, they were like, do you have any notes? And I was like, oh my God, when the Golgothan shit demon comes up, can you shoot the smell of shit into the theater? And he goes, we are not equipped to do that. But they can do it. If you're like driving in a car and you burn rubber, you smell burnt rubber. Like they'll throw scents into the room. And I was like, but you don't have shit? And they're like, why would we have that? It's like an excellent point. I said, well, can you at least do this? When the shit monster like, you know, throws a fucking fist and it goes exploding, can you hit the audience with water in the face? And so they're like, we did it. So I was there, and fucking when he goes with his hand and the ball of shit goes chasing our characters in the bar, they dive over the bar, it hits the wall. If you're in your seat, you get hit with fucking water, so keep your mouth closed, kids. So Dogma in 4DX, something I never imagined I'd see, but now that I've seen it, I can't believe it fucking exists. It's real fun. Comes out for 1 week, September 15th, man. So if you're like, I just went to see it again recently, believe me, it's not mandatory. But if you're like, I've always wondered what a Kevin Smith movie would look like on a roller coaster, go see Dogma in 4DX, September 15th. Now we go over to you. What's your name, Captain?
Hi, Kevin. It's Mike and Nate.
It's Mike and Nate, man. Give it up for Mike and Nate. Every Q&A you guys are here.
Yes.
I've watched the kid go tall and shit.
I know. This kid's getting so much taller now.
And you age and shrink.
Yes. And you know what? I'm 56.
I'm about to be 55 next week.
You know what? It's amazing how things change and people change, and this is definitely changing.
I know. You got a little clock standing next to you that will always remind you how fucking old you are.
And it keeps me young.
Right? At the same time. There's an irony to it. That's beautiful. Oh my God. You hear your dad saying these amazing fucking things?
Yes.
I'm just saying, Christmas is coming in a few months, man. Go hard for Pop. That sounds fucking horrible. Go hard with the gift giving.
One quick thing, what did you think of Superman? And also, when you were doing the 2 Q&As yesterday, I was like so happy for you because you and I were able to see those movies when they first came out, and we were able to nerd on those movies, and I was just so happy for you, seeing you so excited. How was that feeling for you to be a part of those two?
What a great question. It was, and well observed. It was fun for that reason. Like at the end of the day, like, you know, it's cool if anybody's like, hey, we want you to come up and moderate and shit. I'm already here anyway, so having a thing to do, and it ain't a bad thing, like being with a bunch of fucking movie people. I like movies as much as the next guy. I got to see shit early. Dan Trachtenberg, the director of Predator, Badlands, showed me the movie fully in advance and stuff, and I got to see a lot of Tron Ares that, like, you know, be in advance as well. So as a fan, like, I geek out on that kind of shit. But you're absolutely right. Like, I saw Predator and I saw Tron in the same movie theater when I was a kid, which I now own, which became Smodcastle Cinemas and stuff. So being up on stage with both of them, even though they're new iterations, like, was a pretty cool thing. Like, at the end of the day, man, like, I wish I could go back in time and tell, 12-year-old Kev, actually 11-year-old Kev at that point, it wouldn't be 12 until August, summer of '82, when he's seeing Tron alone in a movie theater and shit. Like, one day you're gonna be on a panel with that guy, with the fucking dude from the movie, with Flynn and shit like that. And for sure, fucking, I got to do a panel and the dude was here. Like, fucking Jeff Bridges was sitting on the panel. So it was kind of sweet. And to think, like, summer of '82, I was talking at the beginning of that panel, summer of '82 was so crowded. That's when Tron came out. It's also the same summer that Blade Runner came out, The Thing came out, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and this tiny fucking indie movie nobody's heard of called E.T. the Extraterrestrial. So it was a very packed year, and I saw all those movies in the theater and shit, so being able to get up and talk about Tron and moderate the panel, it was a cool thing, from just the fan inside that never goes away. I've been doing this shit, like, professionally for 31 years, which means that I've been in the entertainment business now longer than when I wasn't in the entertainment business. At age 22, I made Clerks, and at age 23, we take it to Sundance and it gets picked up. And ever since then, I left the real world and I make pretend for a living. So from age 0 to 23, I had a good shot at being a normal ass fucking person. And then I wound up as an entertainer, which I've been now for 31 years. More of my life has been spent making pretend than was spent like being an actual person and stuff. So there's no hope for me anymore whatsoever. But I love that I've never let go of the fan part of me. So being on that panel, as much as I was like, oh, it's cool, I'm doing a panel at Comic-Con, the fucking kid who went to see Tron, the kid who went to see Predator with his friends in the theater, and getting to stand up here and talk about it, like, with, this room seats 7,000, and I think at least for Tron, if not both panels, it was fucking packed and shit. That was a very cool experience, so thank you. And it really made me go like, wow, when I first came to the con, there was no panel for me. I made Clerks, but the movie is just coming to home video when I went to Comic-Con in '95. And we had made Mallrats, but it hadn't come out yet. So there's no reason for me to go do a panel. Next time I came back was in '96, and Clerks and Mallrats had gone to home video. We had shot Chasing Amy, and so I had some footage with me from Chasing Amy. And they gave me a room. It was like one of the small panel rooms that's like with a door shut in the middle and shit. So it seated maybe 200 people. But because the home video released the movies, like, people started hearing about them, seeing them, knowing who I was and whatnot. And so that room was not just packed, but it was overflowing into the hallway. And Gary, who was with Comic-Con at the time, he was just like, who are you? And I was like, I'm fucking Kevin Smith. And so they started putting me in larger rooms, so it was like 6 A, B, C, D, and E, or whatever the fuck. And then one day, they were like, we're gonna move you into Hall H. And I didn't even know this place existed. I think the first time I did it was maybe 2006 or something, 2003. And so back in the day, the programming in Hall H at that point is a 3,000 seater. And so you could come in and sit all day long. So people would come and hold that chair and just watch panel after panel after panel and stuff. At one point they changed it. I don't know how they do it now, but at one point they were like, you gotta get out, and then they refill the place and stuff. So, it was, fuck, I got lost in my story. Oh! So I came to do Hall H, I forget what it was, but I was midday. Like, I very specifically remember doing Hall H when King Kong was here, when Peter Jackson was and Jack Black were here with King Kong. And they were after me, and they were at like 4 o'clock and shit. So these cats, Comic-Con folks, were like, you want to do 2 o'clock Hall H and shit? Like, you're popular enough, but it don't matter because people just sit in those seats anyway. So you're gonna have a bunch of people who don't know who the fuck you are, but I always see that as an opportunity to convert a possible new fan and shit. So I was like, right on. And so I went and did the midday show. And then after that, they were like, you curse a fucking blue streak. Like, did you see how many kids were in the audience? I said, yeah, they paid a lot of attention, man. So So at that point, they were like, we can't let you be there during the day. We're gonna put you at the end of Saturdays when all the kids have gone home and shit, and that way you can say whatever you want. And so then they moved me into the end of Hall H, and I've been doing this, I guess, for like 15 fucking years, maybe more. I gotta go look. And so it's always special, like being here for my own panel, of course, means more to me than moderating somebody else's panel. But sitting there and moderating panels for like, you know, a fucking studio that I grew up watching their movies and 2 movies that I grew up watching myself was a very fucking special feeling. Thank you for asking. What was the first question, though?
The first question was, what did you think of Superman?
Oh!
But one more thing.
Yes.
I remember one year Rosario Dawson was up there and you were running late and she gave you a call saying, where are you? Do you remember that?
I do. That was the year of Clerks 2, 2006. It was here, Hall H. It was still while it was midday. To be fair, that was another reason they moved me to at night, because I was 3 hours late for my panel and they had to move things around. So I wound up getting there and still doing a panel, but like hours later. So at the appointed time, and it was like a packed house because like Clerks 2 was coming and shit. People like, Clerks 2, maybe he'll be good again. They were wrong, but like, so there was a lot of interest in shit like that. And Rosario was there, and so she came up and kind of did the panel. And we tried to do Q&A. I was in the car driving down because I was like, oh, it's only 2 hours to get to San Diego. It was the last time I ever fucking did that, man. Like fucking now I leave with more than enough time. But it was an early cell phone situation. I remember talking to her from the phone, and I was like, take a few questions. And so she'd ask questions, have the audience ask questions, say it to me. And then I tried to give the answer back, but the cell phone kept breaking up and shit. So the Comic-Con people told her, like, stop fucking doing that. And then when I came later on, they let me do the show. But I absolutely fucking remember. I still think about that to this day. Whenever I see Rosario, I think about, of course, all the stuff we've done together. But I think about her, like, holding down the fort at Hall H. Because when I got here, fucking hours late, she goes, you motherfucker. She was going, there's 4,000 people and they want to see you and shit. And I was like, just dance, man. That would have worked and shit. Okay, what did I think of Superman? I absolutely adored it. I went to see it at 2 o'clock on a Thursday, like the first opening Thursday and shit. The first show they had was a 2 o'clock show. And I went with my wife, Jen. And after it was done, we drove home talking about it. And then we got home, we talked about it for another hour. And I was like, you know what? Like, do you want to go again? I want to go see if the feeling I had is the same feeling. I want to see if that feeling was real. And she's like, I'm good, you go. So I went back to the movie by myself. I was like, one please. And I got a ticket. And I went and watched Superman for a second time. So twice within 8 hours, I saw the movie. And I'm happy to report the second time I saw it, I felt just as like emotionally involved, just as like happy as I did the first time. It's a movie that just made me feel fucking good, man. And also, it's, you know, fantasy. Like, I love comic books and always have and whatnot, and I will watch every iteration of a comic book movie. You know, I know some people are like, I like my fucking Snyderverse, and some people are like, I like James Gunn. I like it all. I was raised reading comic books, so sometimes you got a favorite character going through so many different creators, you're gonna get a different take on that character each time. So I've always been accustomed to, like, Batman's gonna be different in Detective than he's gonna be in Batman, than he's gonna be in Justice League and shit. So I remember being a kid, loving comic book movies and always wishing, like, man, I wish someone would do this seriously. Like, imagine if someone did this, but like so fucking serious. And in 1989, when Tim Burton did Batman, we were like, this is it. This is the most serious fucking take on Batman ever. Like, look at this shit. That is the Dark fucking Knight, bitch. Like, you know, we were young, we didn't know. But I was so happy that somebody treated my shit I loved seriously and whatnot. So by the time they got to Chris Nolan and Zack Snyder's take, and even Matt Reeves' take, and I think Matt of those three is the one who is going for the most realistic. They've gotten to a place with that character because he is the most approachable comic book hero, right? He's, you know, some people could relate to Spider-Man, but like, unless you get bitten by a radioactive spider, it can't happen for you. You can relate to Superman, but unless your fucking planet explodes and you're hurled off like Moses, it's probably not gonna happen to you and shit. But if you had a lot of money, you know, and weren't interested in Doge, if you had a lot of money, and you were one of them good billionaires we always read about in comics and shit like that. And you had all the time in the world to train, and tragically your parents were killed right in front of you and shit. Batman could happen. So because of that, it could happen, relatability. They always take that character lately for the last like 20 years and keep pushing him closer and closer to reality. Like, this is what it would be like in the real world. And the Matt Reeves version, Matt Reeves is a wonderful filmmaker, and that movie is incredibly well made, and the cast is great. But it is so fucking serious. Of all the Batman movies, it's the one that's like, this is what it would really be like if Batman happened in the real world. But the problem is, Batman is a fucking fantasy. Like, if you were ever gonna fight crime, would you cover your peripherals to do it? Would you wear a cape that could easily be fucking yanked back and shit like that? I don't care how good you are at a thing, even if you were trained by deadly assassins and whatnot. The world's deadliest assassin training you, his first note would be like, lose the fucking cape, man. So it's an idea of pure fantasy. Of course it is, man. Just like all superheroes are. Superheroes are predicated on something that will never be fucking true, and that's why we love it so much, because the real world is so fucking disappointing. And in the real world, nobody's coming to save us. But in comics, you can enjoy a fucking story where the worst thing in the world is fucking happening, and everybody is racing away from it wisely because nobody wants to die. And then there's one person, very colorfully dressed, heading right toward the fucking danger. Like, that's a beautiful story that I'll read over and over again. So it doesn't matter if you do a hardcore serious take like Zach did and like Matt Reeves does with Batman, or if you do a Tim Burton take, or if you do what James just did with Superman. I'm there. Tell me a fucking superhero story. Treat me to the fantasy, because that's where I want to go. I'm trying to fucking escape, man. So take me to a place where, like, just when I'm about to hit the fucking ground, somebody's gonna swoop in and save me at the end of the day. Take me to a place where fucking somebody's gonna make sure that vengeance is visited upon the people that fucking do harm to my loved ones and stuff. That's the stuff of absolute fantasy. So I want that shit to be as close to fantasy as possible. So for me, Batman is like my Riddler wears a leotard with question marks all over it, you know? Because generally people don't do that in the real world. And so if you're gonna commit a crime as the Riddler, you would kind of do it like the Riddler did and like Paul Dano did in Matt Reeves' movie and stuff, which is creepy and haunting, but that's not the fantasy that I'm looking for. Again, it's not a criticism, not me saying that movie sucks. No, it's really wonderful. But I like when the character is treated with some frivolity. One of the things that I loved about Superman was the return of the trunks to the outside. And that's not because I'm a traditionalist where I'm like, that's the way it was. I thought that fucking Henry Cavill's Superman looked good without the fucking trunks. To be honest, he would look good with no fucking clothes whatsoever. And I suggested that to Zack Snyder and he didn't take me seriously. But like, the idea, I read like an interview before the movie came out with David Cornsweet, the guy who played Superman, and he did such a fucking wonderful job. And he's, I guess right before, and I'm not telling tales out of school, I read this on the internet just like y'all. Right before they shot the first scene of Superman in the costume, that's when they made the decision to put the trunks on him. They had a non-trunks version ready to go, and a trunks version ready to go, and the decision at the last fucking second. And once you commit, I mean, you can always like digitally erase and shit, but once you start shooting with the trunks, you're kind of pot committed and stuff. And they made the decision to go with it, and what I read was David Cornsweet made this argument where he's like, there should be some frivolity to the costume. It should be approachable for a child. And like a wrestler wears trunks. And so a kid like, you know, is familiar with wrestling. The idea of seeing Superman in trunks makes an alien god who just like stopped a kaiju more approachable for the average person. And I was like, that fucking logic is beautiful. I've been reading comics my whole fucking life, never thought to put it that way. Well done. And that whole movie was that experience. It was just warmth. And while being a summer movie, it gave you the whiz bang and shit, huge action sequences, you know, fucking, you knew who the good guy was, you knew exactly who the fucking bad guy was and whatnot, and fuck, the dog was adorable and shit. So everything about it was wonderful. I didn't go in going, this movie better motherfucking save the DC Universe movies or anything like that. I just went in hoping that I'd get exactly what I knew I was gonna get, man, because I'd seen James Gunn do it 3 times before. you know, Suicide Squad, wonderful movie, don't get me wrong, but those Guardians of the Galaxy movies are fucking fun, frivolous, and full of fucking heart. I knew his Superman was gonna be a wonderful take. Like, James is a comic book kid as well, man, so he knows what he's doing. And I was happy to see the movie that he made. I was delighted so much so I went back and saw it twice in 6 hours. Were there things that I bumped into? Sure. Does it matter? Fucking absolutely not. It's the same shit other people might have bumped into. The parents being like, hey man, kill and fuck as much as you can. Like, spoilers. You know, that was something that I know has been done in some comics and stuff. I didn't, you know, now apparently it's canon and stuff. I bumped into that a little bit, but not enough to be like, fuck this movie, I'm out of here and shit. So I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I have not seen Fantastic Four yet because this was going on this weekend, but I'm going at a 10 o'clock show tomorrow morning and I can't fucking wait to see that. It wouldn't be a Comic-Con if I didn't see you kids. Excellent seeing you. Give it up for the kids, man. Bye. Thank you. All right, let me see. Dogma 40X. Oh, here's another Dogma. It's a big Dogma year for us, man. We got it back and I toured it and stuff, and that was in theaters a couple of months ago. We haven't told anybody this, so technically I guess this is a Comic-Con announcement, man. We have somebody picked up the movie for home video, and that's the good folks at Lionsgate. Yes, who we've worked with many times. And what I love about that is Lionsgate, like me, is a company, one of the last in the world, that is committed to physical media, man. Like, so we have a fat fucking steelbook that we're putting together that's gonna be out probably around the holidays. So they'll be the people who will digitally distribute it and stuff to streamers, or where you can buy it on Amazon or iTunes. And then at the same time, fat ass 4K steelbook with new art and tons of new extras is going to be coming out. So if you like Dogma, we keep giving it to you this year. It's we keep calling it the 25th anniversary. Technically, it's the 26th anniversary, but like the Catholic Church, we stretch our truth a little bit. Over to you, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Sarah Hall.
Give it up for Sarah. Sarah's next. Take us there, Sarah.
So last year, I had a question for you as a comic book store owner, because my husband and I, no, I'm not going to ask to have sex in front of you, opened a comic book
You read my
store.
fucking mind, man.
What
I was like, you know who
asking
likes to fuck? You know who likes to have a cuck in front of them? Comic book store owners.
Yeah,
They're like, we live life on the edge already, watch us fuck.
you started it last year with that question. Anyway, D20 Comics and Games. I actually have cards this year.
Where is it?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Texas. All right. How far? Now, Fort Worth is in the Dallas area.
Yes.
So I do get to the Dallas area for shows more often than not. So this is an absolute possibility. I know I'm going to Santa Fe, which is far from you guys, right?
Yes.
Not Santa Fe. Is that in Texas?
No.
Then I'm not going there. A Santa something.
San Antonio.
Isn't that where but that's where the Alamo is.
Yeah, that's down.
It's not there. Fuck, where am I going? I don't know, but I'm going to Texas, but not the Dallas area.
That's okay. You can change planes there for just about anywhere in Texas.
That's true, I've been to that fucking airport. All right, possibly, yeah, you wanna give me that card?
Oh, I'd love to. But my question for you this year,
Okay.
you've talked about your comic books that are coming out. I've seen the Archie. It's beautiful, wonderful, love it.
Thank you. I didn't draw it, Fernando Ruiz did, and he did a wonderful job.
But it's your inspiration, so we're gonna give you some of the credit on that.
Thank you.
What comic books that aren't yours or you've been a part of are you excited for coming out in the near future?
This is unfair because I know some shit that's coming that people don't know about because I've been working on stuff with Marvel and DC. So I'm very quick to want to tell you about those, but then they won't let me work there anymore and stuff. So I am looking forward to, I mean, I know I'm a tiny piece of it, just 8 pages, but I am looking forward to Marvel and DC crossing over. It's been a minute, and I've been alive for all of those crossovers. And it felt like for the last, I don't know, 2 decades, whatever it was, that wasn't gonna happen again. And so when they announced it, I was like, oh, that's fucking dope, man. I'm still alive to see Marvel and DC like do what they never do. That's how rare and special it is. And then I got the call and they were like, do you want to do a story? And I was like, fuck yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, to be honest with you. Do you have any suggestions?
I'm looking forward to those as well. I'm really looking forward to those as well. So we're on the same page on that one.
Fucking good, man. One more time for the folks in the room. What's the name of the comic book store?
D20, like a 20-sided die.
D20, and it's in Fort Worth?
It's in Colleyville's one of the suburbs there of Fort Worth. But
You
yeah.
hear that, Texas? Give it a listen. Give it a look, man. Thank you. Good seeing you again. Okay, do I have anything else to sell? Oh, fuck yeah, I do, man. We last year in October, we did the first annual Chronicon. In Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, there was a fake Jay and Silent Bob convention called Chronicon, based on, Blunt Man and Chronic and shit. And our artwork looked exactly like this. The good folks at Chronicon let us do our version of it and stuff. And so we decided a few years after the movie, let's try to do it in the real world. So we did it in the Chicago area, not in Chicago proper, but when you fly into O'Hare Airport, like one stop outside the O'Hare Airport is the Rosemont Convention Center and stuff. Where years ago, back in the day, I used to go to Wizard World, the Chicago Wizard World. They always have a convention there. So we picked that place and we did Chronicon last year, and it was fucking wonderful. It was a 3-day event. We had a bunch of people from all the movies I've done, a bunch of people from the podcasts I do and stuff. A Jay and Silent Bob themed con in the same place where for years we would go to Wizard World, and then while Wizard World was happening, they had this Beatles con would happen every year and shit. And we kind of became the size of the Beatles con. It's a much smaller show than anything else, but it was a good time. Tickets are now on sale for Chronicon, kids. It's like Chronicon for real. It happens this year from October 10th to October 12th. If you've never been to Chicago, you don't have to worry about it. You won't even have to fucking go. You'll fly into O'Hare, you take one exit right off the airport, and you're right there and ready to go, man. It's a good fucking time. If you're inclined for this Kevin Smith fucking nonsense, come join us at Chronicon in October, man. I'll be the one up front wearing the hat and shit. Okay. Over to you.
Hey, Kev.
What's your name?
Carlos.
Give it up for Carlos. Carlos is next.
I'm not sure if you remember me from last year, but I asked you about an animated series you're working on and how you thought about it on the ride back. I just want to know the status of that, and also...
Was that a fucking year ago?
That was a year ago.
I'm seeing the animation. It's so weird you said that. Like 2 weeks ago, I wrote to my animator friend to be like, hey man, where are we? And he started sending me more regular updates and stuff. It looks fucking phenomenal. I still don't want to share what it is because I'm like, oh shit, nobody's done this yet. It's low-hanging fruit and stuff. But it's I would say, he said he's got about 80 hours more work left to do. The animator, Dan Edwards, D.S. Edwards. So it's cool, it's fun, I can't wait to share it, but that's not done. There was a cartoon I brought with me that I was gonna show here, but the sound mix was way off when we did the tech check. You could barely hear the dialogue. So I was like, you know what, there's no rush. I can fucking put it up online later on. So I did get busy in animation and went to work cartooning and shit. Was today, Saturday. So Sunday, Monday. On Tuesday, I go in, I shouldn't talk about this because it may not work, but fuck it. I'm so happy about it. I'm a massive Rocky and Bullwinkle fan. And have been like since I was a kid. And so because of this one cartoon that I was working on and stuff, and because I was involved in, there was a auction at Van Eaton Galleries in Los Angeles for the items from the Jay Ward estate. Jay Ward was the guy who did all those cartoons, Rocky and Bullwinkle, George of the Jungle, Dudley Do Right, so forth and so on. Peabody and Sherman, all that stuff. So I became tight with the family, the Ward family and stuff. And so on Tuesday, we're going into Universal to pitch this new Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoon. I don't want to get my hopes up and shit like that. And I'm going in so low budget, like my biggest selling point is not like, it'll be funny, it's like, it'll be cheap.
I did want to add though that I'm not holding you to anything though, but you did say
I put your name in it.
Yeah, and I would be a writer potentially.
Yeah.
I really do want to write for animated stuff. That's my dream.
Me too, that's what I've been trying to do.
But my other questions though, would you consider writing your own original comics with original characters, or maybe adapting like an old film, maybe like 4:30 movie or Tusk or anything like that? For
I definitely think of adapting Tusk all the time, and sooner or later I know we'll get to it. But what do last year, 2 years ago, one of the first books that we did through Secret Stash Press was a book called Masquerade, which is a character that I created with my friend Andy McElfish and John Sprengelmeyer and stuff. So that was like the first new character I created for comics. Generally speaking, I work with other people's toys, like I've written for Marvel and DC, or I'll take my characters from the movies into comics. But Masquerade, I think, represented the first time that I created a character directly for comics. And eventually I want to, now that I'm working in comics again, what I'm hoping to do is get DC to be like, okay, and do a crossover with my character and Batman. So, it'll take a couple years, but I think we'll get there. Thank you. Good seeing you again, man. All right, I got the last thing on my selling list is, did anybody go to Cruise Askew last year? Well, the three of us are going again. That's right, but kids, we did Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew last year, and it was a fucking good-ass time. I'd never done like a cruise before. We never had our own cruise and shit. So it was kind of like Chronicon, but on the ocean. And so we're doing it again. It was pretty popular, and the folks who went were like, do it again. So we skipped 1 year, which was this year. It's happening in 2026 in February. It's called Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew. Tickets are at jayandsilentbobscruiseaskew.com right now. It's shockingly good fucking time. Going into it, I was like, one of us could get eaten by a shark. Mercifully, that didn't happen. But before we even left the port, this was so fucked up. Out of nowhere, I was talking to somebody, and I looked over the side of the boat, and a plane had crashed in the water. It was like a Piper Cub, a small like plane, the propeller plane, right in the fucking water, man, like in front of our boat. And the whole boat fucking tilted because everybody was fucking on the side of the boat going, a plane fucking crashed. That's not a good omen at all, And the person was fine. They got out of the plane. They were waving to us while we were taking selfies and shit. So Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew, that was not the most entertaining thing that happened on the cruise, but it was pretty damn entertaining. Lots of shows, live shows and stuff like that, live script readings. It's a good ass time, and of course then all the amenities of going on a cruise. So if you're into that, if you want to spend 3 days at sea with Jay and Silent Bob, fucking go to jayandsilentbobscruiseaskew.com, and we'll see you on the high seas in February 2026. Now over to you, my friend. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Sebastian.
Give it up for Sebastian. Sebastian's next.
So my question is, we've seen Jay and Silent Bob crossover with like a bunch of superheroes, like in the Green Arrow comic and in the Flash TV show, where surprisingly Jay didn't swear for like 5 minutes, which is like a record.
You're right.
Yeah. So my question is, if you had the opportunity, what other superheroes would you cross over with Jay and Silent Bob?
Let me think. What characters do I love? I mean, the obvious, I'm a big Batman fan, and I could probably get away with a Batman story with Jay and Silent Bob. I wrote a Batman story where he pissed himself, and the internet won't let me forget it and shit, so I figure, if I've already done that, I could do one where Batman meets Jay and Silent Bob. That just seems like full of hubris, though. Even though I wouldn't say I've earned it, but like I've been kicking around comics for as long as I've been making films, I feel like if I went in there and was real serious about it, they let me do. You know what? Fuck it. I'm not supposed to announce this, but one of the projects I'm working on is Jay and Silent Bob Fuck the Marvel Universe. It's just a Jay and Silent Bob in the Marvel Universe book, and if you're a Marvel Comics reader for the next year, you're gonna start seeing Jay and Silent Bob just popping up in the background of a lot of Marvel books. They sent me a page like, this is you guys in Wolverine, and it's not like Wolverine's not like fuck off, bub, but like we're in the panel and shit, and so they wanted to filter us into the world before my story, so I'm fucking writing it now. So. Who do I want to cross him over with? All the characters that I've written in that story. And it's literally every fucking Marvel all-star. Their scene with Deadpool is pretty amazing. But of course it's a Marvel book, so there's like certain amount of constraints. So it won't say fucks the Marvel Universe. It'll have, the comic book cursing fucking dingbats in place of the word fucks. But yeah, so I am working on something like that. You fucking got it out of me, man. Well done, Sebastian. Give it up for Sebastian. Was there more?
No, that's it. I'm just surprised I managed to get you to reveal something you're working on. It's like, oh my god.
To be fair, Sebastian, I have a big mouth. It's gotten me into trouble all the fucking time, man. But yeah, all you have to do is scratch the surface. I was like, oh, fucking here, let me tell you. I wasn't supposed to talk about Bullwinkle or that, and both of those things I talked about. And it's not even me going, ooh, I'm doing this. It's just in the course of questions it comes up, and it feels like I'm lying if I don't fucking share what I know and shit. Especially because it's not like, I'm not like working for Marvel or DC where if I reveal something, they'll fucking sniper me from a ceiling or something. But yeah, man, I mean, Marvel and DC, the movies. I am working for Marvel and DC Comics, but they can't afford a sniper. Page rate and whatnot. So, but yes, you got it out of me. Well done, man. Well done. Give it up for Sebastian. I got enough left to sell, so we'll just Q&A. What's your name, Captain?
Hey, Kevin. Do you remember me? I was here last year for the 4:30 movie.
Fucking A. What's your name?
Yeah, I'm Jake.
Give it up for Jake. Jake is next, everybody.
Yeah. And I was also here yesterday for Predator Badlands and Tron Ares.
How were the panels from the audience?
They were awesome. The light show. Even I giggled right when you were waving for the Predator panel. But so
I heard you giggling.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
I did.
Have you guys heard? Yes, that was me.
That was you.
That was
Perfect.
Me. I showed my mom the 4:30 movie, and she theater hopped when she was a kid. So, Mom, I love you, and I'm glad you watched this with me. She liked it.
That's fucking beautiful. Is Mom here?
She is actually.
So she's seen you up on the big screen?
Yes, she has. A lot of my friends freaked out because I put this on Instagram and it's on blast on my Instagram account. Okay, my question. Yes, my question. I'm gonna keep this very short and sweet. So Stan Lee has been a big part of your life, a big portion of your heart. You've done Mallrats, and you did Jane's Silent Bob reboot, but that was an archive footage from an
IMDb interview we did here. Yeah.
Yes,
Well remembered.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. What was your favorite memory with Stan Lee, or it could be a personal memory you had?
I mean, God, there are so fucking many. Well, I'll do two that happened at Comic-Con. What was it? Let me see. 1995 is the first time we come. 1996, we come back and have a booth for the first time. 97, we come back, Chasing Amy's already come out, and we've got the comics on the horizon and stuff like that. So I want to say that it was post Dogma, so it would be 2000, maybe it was around the time of the Clerks cartoon. So me and Jay were on the floor doing a signing at an end cap. It was for, I think, a poster company or something. So they had us at their booth, but you had to walk up a few steps, and we were sitting there signing for people and whatnot and handing them down to folks. Stan rolls over to see us because, you know, we'd known him for years at this point, from Mallrats going forward. And so he comes up, you know, it's about 6 steps to come up, joins us, and hey, spider friends, you know, we were sitting around chit-chatting. He always, like, Kevin, you know, like, he knew me instantly, but he never remembered Jay's name, which is so weird because it's just a letter, you know, like fucking. So he'd always be like, hey, Kev's good friend, you know. So we chit-chatted with him for a bit, and then we were like, where are you going? He's like, I've got a panel, you know, no rest for the weary. And we're like, all right, man, see you later. And so he's heading off the stage, or the riser we were on. And again, it's only 6 steps, but it is 6 steps above the fucking floor. And so he's walking away. We go, bye, Stan. And he goes, bye, and turns and falls down the fucking steps. Right to the fucking ground, dude. And you want to see Comic-Con stop dead? Everyone in the aisles were like, oh, he killed Stan Lee, you know? But Stan, man, was fucking like, you couldn't stop him. Like, he hit the fucking ground, and you were like, oh, because he was old even then and shit. Instantly popped right back up and was like, bye, spider friends, and kept going and shit. It was so charming, and just like, it made you feel like, oh my God, he is a comic book character and stuff. One of the other really sweet memories I had is when you come to do panels here or to do Hall H, you're in the back of the convention center and you pull in to a place where they got a carpet and stuff, and the cars drop you off, and then they take you down the back way to the joint. So me and Jay arrived to do a panel, and as we got out of the car, the SUV, Stan was coming down the carpet, like leaving a thing he had done to get into his car. And so when he saw us, he instantly was like, oh, and he came over and gave us a hug. It was me and Jay, and talked to us for a few seconds. He's like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, we're just about to go do this thing and stuff. What did you do? And he told us what he did and stuff. And then we made plans, hopefully, to see each other sometime over the weekend. And then he got in his car and fucked off. And Jason Mewes is not really this guy. He's not like, you know, he's not shallow by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not like a person that wears his heart on his sleeve or does a lot of big thinking out loud or anything like that. So Stan pulls away and he goes, isn't that fucking incredible? He's like, don't you want to go back in time and tell us before we made Clerks that one day when we get to Comic-Con, the first person who's going to welcome us is Stan Lee, and he's going to know our names. I was like, well, he knew one of our names. He was absolutely fucking tremendous, man. He was like, when I wrote the scene in Mallrats for a comic book guru to play, it wasn't written for Stan, because I don't dream that big and shit. So I just wrote it for a made-up comic book guru character and shit. And Jim Jacks was the producer of Mallrats, one of the producers. When he read the script, he was like, who's this? I love the comic book character scene, the guy who gives him advice. He said, who's that supposed to be? I was like, it's nobody, it's not based on anybody, but I said, I guess if it had to be somebody, it would be like Stan Lee. And he goes, why don't you just write it for Stan Lee? And I was like, well, I don't fucking know Stan Lee. And he goes, I do. And I was like, Hollywood is good. Like, all these fuckers know each other, you know? I was like, how do you know Stan Lee? And he's going, I've been going out to dinner once a month with Stan Lee for the last 3 years. He's going, once I got into a position in the business where I could fucking try to develop things, I reached out to Stan years ago because I grew up reading his comics and I was a massive fan. And he's going, we've never been able to do anything, but every month I take him to Dan Tana's and we go out to eat. So when I read this scene, all I could think about was like, Stan would do this. And I was like, well, fuck, man. He goes, rewrite the scene for Stan and I'll bring it to him when I go out to eat with him and shit. I was like, right. So I rewrote the scene. I faxed it. In those days, that's how we moved information around. Faxed it to Jim, and Jim brought the pages to his dinner with Stan, which was like 7 o'clock. So I'm on the East Coast. This restaurant, Dan Tana's in Los Angeles, is on the West Coast and shit. So when they were done with dinner, presumably around 9 o'clock, that's when Jim Jacks called me. I was back in Jersey, and so it was midnight, and I was like, hey man, how'd it go? He's going, it went okay. He's going, he wants you to call him tomorrow. I was like, Stan Lee wants me to call him? He goes, yeah. I said, why? And he goes, yeah, he'll talk to you about it. And I said, what does that mean? And he goes, let him tell you. I said, well, how do you react to the pages? He goes, he'll tell you about that. And I was like, no, Jim, goddamn, you can't leave me hanging like that. What did he say? And he goes, you really want to know? And I said, yeah. And he goes, all right. Well, I gave him the pages, and he read them right there at the table. And the first thing he said was, Jim, I would never say this shit. And I had to explain to him that it's not really him, it's playing a fictionalized version of himself and whatnot, and he understood that. But he had a question, and he wanted to talk to you about it first. So you're gonna call him at POW, his offices, and talk to him. And I was like, oh my God, this is fucking nuts. So the next day I called them, and they were like, hold for Stan Lee and shit. And then he answered the phone. He's like, hey, Spider Friend. I was like, oh my God, there's that voice, man. That's amazing. I know exactly who you are. I've been listening to you forever, reading the comics and stuff like that. This is honestly like a very cool moment for me. And he goes, well, thank you. He goes, it's very cool that you wrote me a role in your movie. And Jim shared it with me, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. And he's going, I would really like to do it. And I was like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'd like you to do it. He's going, but we've got a little issue. I was like, oh my God, what's the issue? And he goes, well, in the movie, you have this beautiful scene where I'm telling your main character, I'm giving him advice, telling him a story about the one that got away. I was like, yeah. And he goes, it's a great story, but it's me telling that story, Stan Lee in the movie telling the story about the one that got away. And if Stan Lee is in a movie telling a story about the one that got away, the one I got at home will throw me out of the fucking house. I was like, you're talking about your wife? He goes, yeah, I can't dishonor Joni like that. There was never anybody but Joni. Even if there was, it was always just Joni and stuff. He's going, so I can't just go out there and say, you know, this story about falling in love with some woman that got away. He's going, but I was thinking about it. He goes, what if you added a scene where then I can say afterwards that I was just kidding around? And I was like, oh my God, like that's easy for me to do. I'll write that. You could say it to the TS character, his friend. He goes, yeah, well, if you could do that, I think I can be in your movie. And I was like, fucking yeah, done and done. And I knew Stan for years after that. Like when we got him on set, he was 75 years old. And I'll never forget, Jim Jacks was like, okay, everyone be careful with this guy. He's so old he could die at any minute and shit. And Stan lived for another 21 fucking years. Jim Jacks died 10 years later. Like, it's really haunting and fucking sad and shit. So he came to like fucking play with us and stuff like that. And, you know, came and did the part as written. And I got to know him from that day forward, and we became friends over the course of all those years and knew him until he passed away. So knowing Stan, as I grew to know him, I understand what happened in that phone call. Like Stan told me a really great story about how, you know, I gotta fucking say that this is made up because otherwise it'll break Joni's heart and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm just a big fat romantic, so I fucking love that. But after knowing Stan for like 10, 20 years, I realized the brilliance. Stan literally doubled his scene count in one phone call. Simply by being like, I should probably be in a second scene to explain the first scene. And because I'm that kind of filmmaker that has scenes that explain the previous scenes anyway, I was like, fucking, you're right, we should do that. You know? He was a funny fucking dude, man. But it was cool to meet somebody whose work had meant so much to me. You know what was so sad was like when he would talk wistfully about like, I always wanted to write the great American novel. Like he said that to me on a number of fucking occasions, man. Said it on podcasts, said it off of podcasts and shit, just in the real world. And he was like, I always wanted to write the great American novel. I was like, Stan, fucking you out fucking shot the great American novel. You wrote the great American mythology, man, with a lot of help from a lot of wonderful creators and stuff. So he knew who he was and he knew how to sell Stan Lee, that's for sure. But he was, you know, like everybody, internally he felt he'd missed the mark. And yet for so many of us, he was the only one. He was the apostle. He was the one that built our church and gave us our fucking faith and stuff. So getting to know him over the course of the end of his lifetime, which wound up being a good 20, 25 fucking years, was incredibly fucking special, man. It was weird. One time we did a commercial around the time the Age of Ultron was coming out. They hired me to do an Audi commercial that was Stan Lee. It was centered around Stan, and it was the Stan Lee School of Cameo Acting. And so there were other people in it, like Michael Rooker was in the spot with us, me and Jay, Tara Reid was in the spot for some reason and stuff. But she was good. Lou Ferrigno pops up in the spot as well. And the premise was all of us are actors attending the Stan Lee School of Cameo Acting, because he's done cameos forever and shit, so he knows how to do it. So, he gets up on a soapbox, Stan's soapbox, and he has the Thor helmet on. And he goes, "This is acting." And then he takes off the Thor helmet and he puts like a fucking mailman's cap on. He goes, "This is cameo acting," And we're all writing notes and shit like that. It's a very cute spot. So he was there with us all day long and, just in fucking heaven. He's the center of attention and shit and getting to be funny and whatnot. And, he's a grown-up kid at heart. He liked having a good fucking time. So when he was all done, he was a kid at heart, but he was an old man in the real world and shit. So we'd had him for 8 hours. At a certain point, we had to let him go because he was a napper. He was just like, Kevin, at 6 o'clock, I have to go to sleep, And I was like, that's a little early to go to sleep. He goes, "Don't worry, I get up at 8, and then I stay up for another hour, then I go back to sleep." So he left, and we saw him all. I said, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for sensational Stan Lee." And the whole crew loved him and shit. Everyone had taken pictures with him all day long and shit. He got in the car, took off. His accountant dude showed up toward the end of the shoot. Stan's like, "He loves this stuff. Can he watch?" I was like, "Oh my God, absolutely." And shit. So we hung out, and while we shot Stan's last shot, and then he hung out while I was doing the shots that didn't involve Stan. There was a car shot that Stan wasn't in, that Lou Ferrigno is hitchhiking at the end of the spot, and the car goes past him and stuff like that. So Stan was done, but we were still shooting. And so his accountant buddy is standing next to me, and he goes, "Stan did good?" I said, "Oh, Stan did great." I mean, he had to play Stan, and fucking if Stan knows how to do anything, it's to play Stan Lee and shit like that. So he knocked it out the park. And he goes, I know him real well. He's going, "I could tell he had a good time." And I was like, "Yeah, he seemed like he was really enjoying himself. I saw him genuinely laughing and stuff." And he goes, the accountant guy goes, "He always has a good time with you." And I was like, "Yeah, I always have a good time with him." It just felt like we were having that kind of conversation, a nice thing to say. And then the dude devastated me with the next comment. He goes, "He thinks of you like a son." I just thought we were like casual friends because I put him in Mallrats and shit. Like, hearing that like one of your icons thinks of you that highly, like that was fucking everything, man. Like that was a really wonderful moment. So when I think of Stan, that's what I think of. And when the people we love, they can't stay with us forever, right? Like fucking we all understand that we all get a limited time and shit. And people die and they have to die. It's just the natural course of things. But nobody's ever really gone at the end of the day, right? Like, energy is neither created nor destroyed, and we're all just stardust that gets pulled together for a few minutes and then eventually goes back to being energy. And all the energy that was ever in the universe created at the Big Bang is the same amount of energy that's in the universe now. It just gets displaced and moved around. So yes, people die, but they're never really gone. And when the people we love, we talk about them, when we gather and we remember them and share stories and shit like that, they're around for a few seconds again. Like somewhere in this room, Stan's sitting in one of those empty chairs just going like, "Well done, spider friend," because we keep the legend alive, keep it going and stuff. So I thank you for the opportunity to talk about my dead friend.
Thank you for your time, Kevin.
Thank you. It means the world. Oh shit, we got 10 minutes left. What's your name, Cape Crusader?
My name is Noah.
Give it up for Noah. Noah's next. All right, Noah, what's up?
So, first off, it's an honor to meet you. This is my first time in Hall H.
Oh, this is your first Hall H?
Yeah.
How long? What shows did you go to today?
The Peacemaker panel and.
Was that here in Hall H?
Yes.
Did John Cena or something? Cena, sorry. Fucking, I did this to his face once and he was like, "Cena." I don't watch wrestling. So did John Cena wear the fucking outfit?
He did.
God damn it, that guy's got so much spirit, man. Like, I like his enthusiasm for a thing. I've seen him do press and shit. And one time I interviewed him, because for years, about 5 years straight, I used to interview people out on the IMD boat in the water and shit. So everyone who came through Comic-Con came through the boat. So I got to interview a bunch of fucking people. And I'll never forget, like, interviewing him. Again, I don't watch wrestling and shit, so I was unfamiliar with the man's work. But I was real charmed by him, and he was the only other person I've ever met who was wearing jorts at the same time as me. And I was like, look at you. I said, you got jorts? And he goes, I got my own brand of jorts. Made me feel fucking small. But yes, so, but yeah, man, fucking, so how was the panel? Did they show an episode?
Yeah.
They did? Did they, on the Peacemaker panel, did they show an episode?
No.
Did you say you were at the Peacemaker panel?
You got me.
Now I'm having one of those moments where I'm like, maybe I'm just high. Did you mention the Peacemaker panel?
I did.
So you were there?
I was.
Did they show an episode of Peacemaker?
Only a glimpse.
Well, that's different than what you said before.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that, though. So you saw Peace. They didn't show a whole episode, but they showed some footage. Right on. How was the panel?
It was fantastic. Like, blew my mind.
Oh, shit. Now compare it to this panel. What is this blowing for you?
Everything.
Anyway, over to you. I'm so glad. Welcome, man. And we need more of you. We always need a first-timer and shit. Stan Lee, the guy we were speaking about and we'll be talking about for time immemorial, once very famously said that every comic book is somebody's first comic book. So every con is somebody's first con, and every Hall H panel or Hall H is somebody's fucking first Hall H. And this year it's you. You're the king of Comic-Con. We've been waiting for you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to the tribe. All right, what do you want to know?
Okay, so my question, I'm gonna keep this short. Out of all...
Don't worry about that. I'm going to give you a long-ass fucking answer.
Okay, so out of all superheroes, either Marvel or DC, which one do you like the most?
I mean, the go-to answer for me is always Batman, because Batman was my first superhero when I was a kid. The Adam West Batman was in reruns when I was a child. And so, TV wasn't what it is now, and TV isn't what it was like 2 years ago and shit. But back in the day, like, you didn't have your own personal TV everywhere or anything like that. So we had a big TV that was more a piece of furniture in the living room. But we had like a small black and white, like 8-inch television with rabbit ears that was in the kitchen that was designated as like, this is Kevin's television. And so it was where like my toys were and shit, and where my the kitchen's my favorite room in the house. So they put my toys right there and shit. So I could play, get food, play and shit. And then they put the TV there, and so every day after school from kindergarten forward, I would come home and watch Batman. They'd have it on for an hour from 3 till like 4 o'clock and stuff. It was structure, built my day, and it also built my morality. I was raised Catholic, and in the Catholic Church, they try to force morality down your throat. Like, be good for Jesus or else you're going to hell and shit like that. Most of my morality came from reading comic books. Like, that's what made me want to be good. Not because, like, somebody might send me to hell one day, just because these people made being good seem like the right thing to do. Made people feel good when you were being good and shit like that. So comics have always kind of played that role for me, man, as far back as that. The first comic book superhero I saw in print was Batman. And since I knew him from the TV show and all the villains and whatnot, oddly enough, I saw the show before I actually saw a comic. Saw a comic book for the first time, or a Batman comic book, I think when I was 4.5, my father took me to get a haircut at a barber shop and shit. And I was so little, they put a board on the arms of the fucking chairs so that he could reach my hair. But I was a kid, I guess, and was frightened by the idea of this smoky place, old men, this is scary and shit. And so I was nervous about going toward the chair. It looked like a dental thing, so I didn't want no part of it. And my father was like, I'll get my haircut first so he could see what it looks like and stuff. And the barber, whose name was Vinny the barber, was like, he told me, he goes, under the TV, there's some comic books. And so I went over to the fucking TV he had in his like waiting room, and there was a stack of comic books. And there was like Hot Stuff, The Little Devil, and fucking Sad Sack and shit like that. And then when I went through those, the first comic is that Neil Adams, first Batman comic I ever saw. The Neil Adams cover where the Joker is oversized and Batman's hanging on that card. It's a very famous cover that escapes me right now, the number and shit. But that was the first Batman comic I actually opened up and read, and I was like, oh my God, like, as much as I thought I knew the story of Batman from watching the Adam West Batman and whatnot, there were characters I was unfamiliar with, and he looked cooler, you know, he had longer ears and stuff. And so I asked Vinny the barber, can I take this home? And my dad, I remember, was so embarrassed. He was like, don't ask people for free shit. So I never did for the rest of my life. But then I got in the entertainment business, and now they just give you free shit. And my father's dead, so I can't tell him, you were fucking wrong. So I would have to say Batman. However, the second comic book I ever saw was fucking Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is near and dear to a kid because Spider-Man was created for kids. The idea that Stan and Jack had was like, let's put him in a mask and it's a kid, and that way it could be any fucking kid as long as he's wearing the mask and shit. Any kid could imagine they're Spider-Man. Just like they had written Robin into the Batman mythos, like, hey man, the audience are kids. Let's put a kid in the fucking book so they can see themselves in the book and stuff. So Spider-Man is also like a big feature in my childhood. Graphically beautiful fucking character. He's never been out of print in the toy market. You know, fucking there's always been a Spider-Man figure, a Spider-Man Mego doll, so forth and so on. So I would definitely say those two characters, Batman and Spider-Man, are the ones I gravitate toward the most because of being raised with them, the emotional connection, nostalgic connection. But, you know, then there are characters that I've written for, like Green Arrow and Daredevil, that I know inside and out because I spent more time, like, telling stories with them. But to be honest with you, like, I love them all, man. I honestly, like, having been raised on the Bible, I'm inclined toward morality tales and shit. And that's all comics are. Comics, you know, they tell you the stories about being good, like, same way that Bible stories tell you stories about being good, man. The thing about comics is, like, they got way better costumes than Jesus ever wore. So I like those stories more, and I like getting my morality from them, even now, till this day. And I know at age 54, I should have established my own morality and not rely on comic books, but ain't nothing wrong with a refresher. Every day is a fucking school day, man. And any comic book story I read that reinforces, like, yeah, man, do the right fucking thing is worthwhile. So those characters would be the ones. What was the main question? Was it which characters I like the most or which I would fuck? What was the question?
Which character do you like the most of all?
Zatanna. No, Batman. Good? Fucking A. Give it up for him, man. We got 1 minute left, so we're gonna end on you, Robin. What's your name?
Hi, it's nice to meet you, Kevin. How are you?
So good. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Justine.
Justin?
Justine. It's spelled differently. Like
Spell.
J-U-S-T, 2 E's, and an N. I'm Justin the Teen.
Give up for Justine, man. Justine's gonna take us home.
Okay, Jake told me about you. Like, he reintroduced me to you when I first found you in the Lego Batman game, and I'm honestly
Is that the first place you saw me?
Yes.
I was so proud of that the day they told me, like, you're gonna be in the Lego Batman game. I was like, I have reached the apex, man. Like, this is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I still have that fucking game. I'm still so proud of that. rarely do people ever come up to me and be like, you were in that fucking Lego game.
Yes.
And how weird that was like your introduction. Like, I'm a real live human being, but you thought I was a Lego character.
Yeah. And to meet you in person right now, it's so cool to meet you, and I like to think.
It's cool to meet you, but you know what's weird? I can take myself apart right now, like in Lego, if I had to.
But yeah, you're a cool guy.
Thank you.
Honestly, a cool guy. And this leads to my relevant question, and I'm like a pop culture fan like you, and hold on, I need to think.
No, go ahead, collect yourself. We're here for you.
because I like Marvel, I like DC, I like Star Wars, I like every other fictional superheroes or sci-fi, but my most favorite thing is Transformers. I love Transformers. Yeah, it's one I like. Growing up, when I was a kid, seeing robots transform into cars or trucks or jets, I love it.
It's a cool concept.
Yeah, it is a cool concept. So, my most question to you regarding the Transformers, which faction would you choose in the Transformers universe? Also, I'd like to say one thing. Release Transformers 1 sequel and watch the Transformers 1 movie. It's a great movie. Go watch it. Yeah.
They should fucking pay you, Paramount, man. Thing is, Paramount hires you, they'll probably fire you as well, as we've seen recently. Okay, what is the main question about Transformers is, which iteration do I like? What was it?
Which faction?
Oh,
Decepticon, Maximals, or Quintessons, or Mercenaries?
I mean, by virtue, look, I thought there were two. I had no idea. I had no idea that Transformers had moved into pronouns at this point as well. Okay, so for me, it would tell me the one that aren't the traditional two of Decepticons and Autobots.
There's Mercenaries, there's Star Raiders, there are Predacons, there are Maximals, what else? There's the Primes, the 13.
Have they put any of those in the movies?
Transformers 1 they did, Rise of the Beast they did, I absolutely love that movie.
I know everyone's gonna be like, boo, fuck you, but my favorite Transformers thing is Bumblebee. I thought Bumblebee was incredibly well made, and like warm as fuck and whatnot. The first Transformer movie, the first few that Michael Bay did, like that was when I felt like an old man for the first time. Because I was like, I can't tell what's happening. Like, which one is fucking Optimus Prime? Like, it was just metal bashing into fucking metal and shit. But Bumblebee, I goes, oh, that's Bumblebee. Like, I understood that very quickly. If I had to pick one, I mean, again, I lean more toward the good guys and Optimus Prime's voice. What was his name? Peter, yes, Peter Cullen. You met him? When? Fucking A. That voice, like, if somebody was gonna tell me, if somebody had to deliver the news, you're gonna fucking die today, I would take it from that voice. Like, you're gonna die today, roll out, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, did you have a good time this evening? I gotta tell you, man, I had a good time this weekend, but you kids made my 30th Comic-Con so special, man. This has been a lot of fucking fun for me. I love you too. I'm gonna remind you one more time. I mean, I didn't do it today, but generally I always do it when I'm in front of people and stuff. Kids, you probably saw a lot of people this weekend at Comic-Con. You're seeing one now. You'll see some tomorrow and stuff. Every one of the fucking people that you're gonna see who walks across this stage, walks across any of the other stages, shares something at the genetic level with all of you. They began their journey to wherever they are by being a fan, just like you. And they aggregated from the audience to the stage as a creator. That's not because they have God-given talent. That's not because they're special. That's not because they were fucking handpicked or something like that. That's because they tried. That's because they said, that looks fun and I want to try it too. So if you like this shit, and if you're willing to sit in a seat for hours listening to people talk about movies and stuff, you're a filmmaker. You just haven't made your film yet. So I implore you, over the course of the next year, man, it's fun to watch other people do things and make things. It's even more fun to do them yourself. And now we live in an age when everything's possible. When I made my first movie, we had to rent film equipment and shit like that. Like, the first film I ever did cost $27,575. And most kids, when I tell them that today, they're like, what'd you do with the money? Now they've got fucking technology that you can make your own film. If you've got fucking one of these goddamn phones and shit, you got a studio in your pocket, you can make whatever you want. If you don't want to make that, shit, you can record a podcast. If you don't want to do that, you could just write. Express yourself, man. And I don't mean like jump on the internet and be like, fucking Superman sucked. Like, that's not... Yes, that is a form of self-expression, but that's not going to help anybody, one iota. You may argue, yeah, it'll stop somebody from seeing fucking Superman. Let them make up their own fucking mind and shit like that. When I say express yourself, I mean share something of yourself that only you could possibly fucking share, man. Everyone in this room is an amazing little content generator, living a very unique life experience from all the rest of us. We all share the human condition, but your journey is so fucking unique and so interesting, man. When first-time storytellers think about doing stuff, they try to ape what others have done before, mimic what has been done before. Like, that seems successful, I'll try that. That's a way to go. You could do that. If there is success one time, perhaps there'll be success in another time as well. But I would always encourage you to die on the cross of originality, because you have something to say that nobody has ever fucking heard before, and you're the only person who could fucking say it. When we talk about the movie business, usually people dismiss it as like, oh, they just make sequels and fucking remakes. It sucks. That's what pays the bills. But you know what they dream about? They dream about you, someone they've never met, walking through the door and telling them a fucking story that knocks their fucking hat off, man. That makes them go like, my God, that moves me, and we're all gonna make a bunch of money and shit like that. They're never gonna get that from me. When I walk into a studio, they're like, we get it, Clerks 9, fuck off. But they've heard my stories over and over again and shit. It's all variations on a theme because I've been doing it for 3 decades. But you have not. And everything you have to say is fucking useful. We are all in this together, but nobody is coming to save us, man. The only way we get out of this one fucking best possible of all worlds alive is with togetherness, man. We have answers that other people need. When you express yourself and tell your story, you're not just possibly entertaining somebody, you're possibly giving them fucking information, tools for them to make their life fucking a little bit better, man. So not only do you get something off your chest and get to make a piece of art or something like that, make pretend. If art sounds too lofty, just bring it down to like make pretend, do a fucking thing. Even if it's just that, you've self-fucking expressed. You put something out there and you have something uniquely yours that maybe you haven't had since childhood. A make pretend thing that you made, you could put up on the fridge that you fucking own. There was nothingness and then you brought something into creation. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario is you fucking tell a story that saves somebody's life. This is not an exaggeration. I've been doing this shit 31 years, as previously mentioned, and invariably, no matter where I go in the world, I always meet people who will tell me some sweet story about something I fucking made that changed their life, man. I use this example all the time because it still moved me. It happened within 2 years. 2 years ago, I was doing a show in Dallas. What was that fucking show? Dallas Fan Con or whatever it's called and stuff. So while I was there, you know, you take pictures and you sign shit. It's just like this fucking con. And there was a dude who came up and he had a copy of Mallrats on VHS. Beat up the fuck. Looked like it went through a washer machine and shit. But you know, it was from 1995. It's a VHS. It's a fucking relic and stuff. He put it on the table. I said, oh, look at this fucking piece of Americana. I was like, this has seen better days. Holy shit. And he goes, that's my copy. I've had it for years. I want to get it signed for my son. I said, oh, how old's your son? He goes, he's newborn and stuff. And I was like, oh, all right. Fucking, well, don't show him this movie for many, many years and stuff. And he goes, no, I'm gonna show him this movie because this is the movie that saved my life. That's why I want you to sign it to him. And I hear that compliment quite a bit. It's a nice thing that people say. We're like, you did a thing that saved my life. And I've said that to other artists, and I know what that means. It's not really fucking true. Like when somebody goes, Clerks saved my life, it's not like they're like, I was hanging from a cliff and a copy of Clerks, I grabbed onto it and it saved my, you know. No, they're speaking metaphorically or whatever. It's a nice thing to hear as somebody that did something that changed or saved somebody's life. So when he said it, I know how to respond to that after years. I was like, oh my God, thank you, that means the world. And he goes, no, I'm being serious. He's going, I just want to share this with you before you sign it. He's going, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, every day I came home from school, my father would beat the shit out of me to within an inch of my life, every day, really violently. And then I would crawl in a bloody pulp to my room, close the bedroom door, clean myself up, put in Mallrats, and I would escape to the mall with Brody and TS and Jay and Silent Bob, and that was my escape, and that gave me my strength to head into the next day. He's going, now I'm a father, and I would never do to my son what that piece of shit did to me, but I know that this is important, that my boy know that he's alive today because I lived through some shit, so can you make it out to him? It was Mallrats, kids. Like, it wasn't even one of the good movies I made, you know what I'm saying? But that movie had a profound fucking effect. When I was making Mallrats, I wasn't thinking like, this is gonna help some poor kid somewhere who's getting a regular beatdown. But it did, man. And so you never know what the fuck you're working on or what you could possibly say that is gonna save somebody else's fucking life. Every day is a fucking school day. And you have information the world will never know unless you share it in one form or another, man. So if you choose to use that voice of yours, and I don't mean just your speaking voice, I mean your voice is your perspective, your voice is your currency, your voice is how you see the world and spin it back to the world, the filter through which your perspective comes out for everybody. Your voice is valuable, it's your currency, you can fucking spend it, and you should in this lifetime, man. Don't tell other people's stories. Tell yours, man, because it's unique and it's never been told before, and no one can ever tell your story. Nobody has your perspective, and who knows how valuable that perspective is. So it's fun to sit around at Comic-Con and watch people who've made their dreams come true, man. I sat here moderating panels with famous people who made movies and shit. I was like, fucking A, they all started out there as fans and shit. Now they're up here doing their thing. And it's fun to sit around and do that and whatnot because we love the arts, the popular arts, but kids, I implore you, don't leave this world without fucking trying it yourself. You're all fucking storytellers as well. No better than any of us who've been up here. Maybe some cat's got more money than you, but that fucking don't make a difference. Make sure before you leave this best of all possible worlds, you let them know who you fucking are by expressing yourself. Now, if you're a person that's like, well, I've always wanted to hunt humans, I'm not talking to you, man. Your dreams are unimportant and their nightmares don't make them come true and shit. But try to make your dreams come true before you leave this place, kids. I'm telling you, I try every day. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't and shit, but like, what are you gonna do other than give it a shot? Thanks for spending the time with me. I love you all. Be very careful going home. Enjoy the rest of Comic-Con 2025. Good night.
All right, Hall H, one more time for Kevin Smith. Thank you for spending your day with us, and have a great evening.